Hello, second grade. Welcome back. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. Thank you so much for joining me once again in this Read Aloud Scholars. Today, we are going to dive deeper into the skills that we have been learning for all of these, 5 weeks. Scholars, I know that you're already experts and I know that you're gonna rock it and you're going to give me all of that evidence, scholars. Scholars, when I say go, I want you to snap your fingers with me so we can make our chart appear because I don't know where it went. It disappeared. So get ready, snap them with me and go. Wow, scholars, checking the board. All right, we have had our chart. I am going to give you a quick command. I want you to pause this video very, very quickly, go and get some paper and a pencil and write down this chart or draw it out. Got it? All right, get ready. Pause the video, go. Okay, you're back. Oh my goodness, welcome back. Now I want to make sure that I give you some time to also draw it out. So go ahead and draw it out. Go ahead and pause the video one more time and draw it out. Go. Say, that was easy. Okay, scholars, so I already know that you already drew this in your writing paper. If you already have some writing paper, scholars, you are such a superstar because you're going above and beyond and working hard so you can know and maybe even get ahead of me. I know you want to be a superstar. So anyway, let's keep going and hopefully that we're able to find new characters and we're able to understand the characters' motivations and focus on all of those skills that we need to write down in this chart. All right, this chapter is titled The Great Upside Down Monkey Circus. Ooh, I already know that you're making predictions in your mind, scholars. Read with me. Now, for the monkeys, the 4 monkeys in the cage in the garden were all one family. There were Mugglewump and his wife and their 2 small children. But what on earth were Mr. and Mrs. Twit doing with monkeys in their garden? Well, in the old days, they had both worked in a circus as monkey trainers. They used to teach monkeys to do tricks and to dress up in human clothes and smoke pipes and all of the rest of that nonsense. Today, although they were retired, Mr. Twit still wanted to train monkeys. It was his dream that one day he would own the first great upside-down monkey circus in the world. That meant that monkeys had to do everything upside down. They had to dance upside down on their hands with their feet in the air. So guys, I'm going to pause right here. I want to know, why do Mr. and Mrs. Twit have monkeys? Why do Mr. and Mrs. Twit have monkeys? When I say go, I want you to point to your brain and I want you to think about your answer. Get ready, go. Scholars, if you need more thinking time, you can pause your video. You have that option. So point to your brain, do not get tricked, keep going. All right, scholars, when I say go, I want you to tell me your answer out loud. Get ready? Go. Yeah, that's right. I do think that Mr. and Mrs. Twit owned a circus before, and that's why they had monkeys now, but the monkeys were retired. I know because on the text, it says so. Here is my evidence. I know because it says, well, in the old days, they had both worked in a circus as monkey trainers. They used to teach monkeys to do tricks and to dress up in human clothes and to smoke pipes and all the rest of that nonsense. Today, although, they were retired. I wonder if you were able to look for that evidence very carefully and maybe you got the same evidence as I did. All right, scholars, let's keep reading. They had to play football upside down. They had to balance one on top of the other upside down with Mugglewump at the bottom and the smallest baby monkey at the very top. They even had to eat and drink upside down, and that is not an easy thing to do because the food and water has to go up your throat instead of down it. In fact, it is almost impossible, but the monkeys simply had to do it. Otherwise, they got nothing. All this sounds pretty silly to you and me. It sounded pretty silly to the monkeys too. They absolutely hated having to do this upside down nonsense day after day. It made them giddy standing on their heads for hours on end. Sometimes the two small monkey children would faint with so much blood going to their heads. But Mr. Twits didn't care about that. He kept them practicing for 6 hours every day. And if they didn't do as they were told, Mrs. Twit would soon come running with her beastly stick. All right, scholars. Today, I want to know, what is Mr. and Mrs. Twit's motivation? I want you to go ahead and look for your evidence first. I have page 40 right here, making very, very simple for you. I want you to track this evidence. If you need to pause your video to find the correct evidence, that is completely fine. I want you to find your evidence. Get ready, go. Tracking me? Great evidence, scholars. Okay, so can you tell me your evidence? Get ready, go. Great evidence, scholars. I love that you went and pointed to your evidence and you were able to tell me what evidence helped you find their motivation. So I know that my evidence is this. Scholars, I'm just going to summarize it very quickly and make sure that it's in my own words. I know that I can summarize my evidence and I can paraphrase it to my own words, and that's okay. Scholars, I was seeing in this page that Mr. Twit didn't care about the monkeys. He didn't care if, they couldn't drink water upside down or couldn't drink anything upside down. And Mrs. Twit was also careless as well. Ooh, character trait, don't get tricked. I am coming up with character traits. I wonder if you're doing that too. Anyway, I know that she was careless as well because she took out her beastly stick as soon as they were not doing as they were told. Say, poor monkeys. Scholars, I want you to go ahead and go to my chart with me. Before you write with me, scholars, I want you to write your motivation and see if your motivation that you write down in your chart matches with mine. Go. Now that you have written the motivation for the characters in the story, I want you to write down the conflict. So your conflict will say with, so who is the conflict with? With, okay, remember, you can pause this video if you need more writing time. Get ready, go. Okay, my turn. All right, so I know, I'm gonna start with Mr. Twit. I know that Mr. Twit, perfect. Now I'm gonna go and write Mrs. Twit's motivation. So let's keep going. This chapter is called The Roly-Poly Bird to the Rescue. Read with me. Mugglewump and his family longed to escape from the cage in Mr. Twit's garden and go back to the African jungle where they came from. They hated Mr. and Mrs. Twit for making their lives so miserable. They also hated them for what they did to the birds every Tuesday and Wednesday. "Fly away, birds!" they used to shout, jumping about in the cage and waving their arms. "Don't sit on that big, dead tree. It's just been smeared all over with sticky glue. Go and sit somewhere else." But these were English birds, and they couldn't understand the weird African language the monkeys spoke. So they took no notice and went on using the big, dead tree and getting caught for Mr. Twit's bird pie. So, I want to know, what is the monkey's motivation? What is the monkey's motivation? Find your evidence. Remember, scholars, you can pause your video if you need more time. All right, checking me? Okay, scholars, this is my evidence. I think that the monkey's motivation is that they do not want to perform in the circus. And they probably have a conflict with the Twits, so I'm gonna write that down. Great answer. I know you guys rocked it, and I know that you got a really close answer to mine. Let's keep reading. Ooh, follow with me, read with me. Then one day, a truly magnificent bird flew down out of the sky and landed in the monkey cage. "Good heavens!" cried all of the monkeys together. "It's the roly-poly bird." "What on earth are you doing over here in England, roly-poly bird?" Like the monkeys, the roly-poly bird, ooh, what a tongue twister, came from Africa, and he spoke the same language as they did. "I've come for a holiday," said the roly-poly bird. "I like to travel." He fluffed his marvelous colored monkeys. For most people, he went on, "Flying away on holiday is very expensive, but I can fly anywhere in the world for nothing." "Do you know how to talk to these English birds?" Mugglewump asked him. "Of course I do," said the roly-poly bird. It's no good going to a country and not knowing the language." "Then we must hurry," said Mugglewump. "Today is Tuesday, and it's today Tuesday too. Today is Tuesday, and over there you can already see the revolting Mr. Twit up the ladder painting the sticky glue on all of the branches of the big dead tree. This evening, when the birds came in to roost, you must warn them not to perch on that tree, or they will be made into bird pie." That evening, the roly-poly bird flew around and around the big dead tree, singing out, "There's a sticky stuff all over the tree. If you land in the branches, you'll never get free. So fly away, stay up high, or you'll finish up tomorrow in a hot bird pie." All right, scholars, I have a question for you. What is the monkey's motivation now? And what is roly-poly's motivation? What is the monkey's and roly-poly's motivation? Think about it. Go ahead and pause the video if you need more time. And as you are thinking about this, I want you to look for your evidence. Remember, you can pause the video if you need more time. Do not get tricked. I want to make sure that you are thinking and brainstorming of all of it before I tell you. Got it? All right, scholars, before we continue and you pause this video, I want you to write the new characters that we met with me. Got it? All right, I know that we had Roly-Poly. He is the new character that we met. And the birds came back in the story, so I'm going to write them down as well. Even though, scholars, even those scholars, these may be for secondary characters. I still want to think about them, and I want to make sure, I'm gonna get this right here so it can stay nicely down. Okay, so there we go. So scholars, even though they are secondary characters, I want to make sure that I still mention them in my brain, because main characters and secondary characters are still important. We have to make sure that we mention them anyway. Although we don't focus on them that much, but we always have that in our brains, because maybe this will affect somebody's motivation, or there will be a conflict in the future with the main character. So always keep secondary characters in your brains. Okay, so now pause this video, write your answers. I want you to write your motivation for the monkeys and for Roller Poly's motivation, and see if they have any conflict. And I hope your answers match mine. My turn. I know that the monkeys Roly Poly's motivation is scholars. I want you to really think about this for a minute. Is there any conflict between the monkeys and the Roly Poly? Yes, you're right. There is no conflict. There is no conflict because they both have the same motivation. There will only be conflict if their motivation was different or opposite. Got it? Scholars, we have one last chapter to read, a very short chapter. As I am reading, scholars, I want you to think about, why are the birds and the monkeys laughing at the Twits? Let's keep reading. This chapter is called No Bird Pie for Mr. Twit. The next morning, when Mr. Twit came out with his huge basket to snatch all the birds from the big dead tree, there wasn't a single one on it. They were all sitting on the top of the monkey cage. The roly-poly bird was there as well, and Muggle-Wump and his family were inside the cage, and the whole lot of them were laughing at Mr. Twit. Oh my goodness. So why do you think that they were laughing at Mr. Twit? I want you to pause your video, scholars. I actually want you to go and run to your parents and have you record your answer and send it to your teacher so they can send it to me and I can show your answer to other scholars. Okay, scholars, I'm going to leave you with that question. I am so glad that you joined me today, scholars, and I cannot wait to target these skills with you tomorrow. Just before I let you go, I do want to give a shout out to my friend Austin D. Agostino. Well, look at him looking at my read aloud, and Maverick Diaz once again. Loving that you are consistent, my friend. And my friend Itzayana. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Itzayana, for watching. It looks like you're having so much fun. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.